Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cyber Voice podcast. This is the podcast where we explore the human side of cybersecurity. Why? Because cybersecurity is not just about the system, it's not just about the tools or about the technology. It is also about the people, the choices made behind the screen to keep us safer in the digital space. I am your host, Jummy, and in every conversation, in every episode that we have, we'll be listening and watching conversations that will inspire, that will challenge our perspective as defenders, and not just as defenders as a cybersecurity professional, as defenders of our digital space, because we are all in this world together, no matter your technicalities. So I warmly welcome you all to another episode of the Cyber Voice podcast. Today's theme is from curiosity to impact, using cybersecurity as a tool for social change. Every field in life have this part of them where it can be used as a social change for impact. The same thing goes with cybersecurity. And the angle that we'll be exploring together with my guest is that cybersecurity is not just about protecting organizations, but it's also about creating awareness. It's about empowering people and also leaving communities safer than we found them. So irrespective of wherever you are, your community deserves a safer space. And you should try in as much as possible to ensure that your community is safer than you met it. All right. So, and on this podcast today, on this episode today, I have with me a very special person, very dear to me in the cyberspace. She's a fellow cyber sister, and her name is Simbiat Sadiq. Simbiat, thank you so much for joining me on this call.
Thank you for having me, Jimmy.
All right. So I'll just take a brief summary, profile summary of Simbiat. I don't know why she made it like that, but I won't blow her trumpet so much. I'll just read what she have in here for me. Simbiat is an information security and compliance professional with over 9 years of technical and strategic experience spanning cloud security, security operations, and governance and risk compliance across multiple countries and regions, including West Africa, East Africa, and Europe. Simbiat is just more than the technical person. She tilts towards the strategic part of cybersecurity. She has advised and led security programs across industries, ranging from the financial services and government to technology and even healthcare. She is the co-founder of CyBlack, a United Kingdom charity dedicated to growing a global network of Black cybersecurity talent. She was named one of the top 50 women in cybersecurity in Africa. So I need to say that again for you to hear. She was named one of the top 50 women in cybersecurity in Africa. And she also won the Cybersecurity Women Volunteer of the Year award in 2022. So, people, I want you to welcome with me today Simbiat Sadiq to the Cyber Voice podcast. Once again, thank you so much for joining me on this call. So I want to hear your voice now. So I want you to respond to me.
Thank you, Jimmy. No, it's so funny because I was going to say, how do you act when your profile is being read, do you smile, do you clap, or do you say, "Oh my God, is that me?"
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, it's really great to be here.
All right, thank you. So, this podcast today, today's episode is going to include 5 high impact questions and 2 signatory questions. So, we're going to start with the 5 high impact questions. And I want you to sit back, relax, and talk to us as the human pillar behind the screen, ensuring that the cyberspace is safer. All right. So the first one is, before cybersecurity became your profession, what sparked your curiosity about the field? And was there a defining moment when you realized that it could become a platform for creating impact? So it's a two-in-one question. What sparked your curiosity about this field? Because I know way back, it was nothing, cybersecurity wasn't a buzzword. And we both know that. So what sparked your curiosity into this
Yeah.
world? And at what point do you have a defining moment when you know that this could be used to to create impact, serve as a platform for impact?
That's such like an interesting question. I think I would say what really first sparked my curiosity about cybersecurity was just seeing how a single individual sitting behind a computer can, have a significant impact on a business. Right? Like I find it very fascinating that the same technology that could be used to, build, innovate, can also disrupt businesses.
Mhm.
And this really made me wanted to understand, how can these attacks be prevented. I think when I first learned about anything related to cybersecurity, it was really the word hacking that
Yeah.
caught my attention, right? And I think that's really like that really came out of curiosity. And then I discovered, you could study cybersecurity as a course. And then I went ahead to like, study it as a course. But I think the defining moment for me when I realized that cybersecurity could really be more than a profession was when I think I was probably in 400 level or 300 level then, for context, because of like 5 years course, right?
Yeah.
So it was like middle of, being in school. And I just started like sharing, cybersecurity news that I was reading on my Twitter, just, summarize and just add the link back to Twitter. And over time, just seeing how much people were learning from this and just, appreciating how this security news was sort of like, summarized and being broken down just made me realize that, okay, I think this could really be more than, this could be like more than a profession for
Yes.
me. It could also be sort of like an opportunity to educate people, create awareness
Mm.
and also help others understand all of the risk around digital world. So it's just, seeing the amount of information that you could share, seeing how much people can learn from you. Yeah, that's really it.
All right. I know I can relate with that because I remember back then I am not an X person. Even up to today, I'm just trying to keep up with X. And I remember getting there and then you were
Yeah.
already everywhere. I'm like, yo, how did you do it? And how were you
How did
able
you
to
get here?
sustain the energy? At some point, I remember saying, no, for you and Mrs. AK on X, no, nobody. I'm not sure I can match up this energy because I don't even have that time to be staying there. So I wonder how you keep up the energy from your corporate world to, to creating security awareness. And that was what look like when it was time for several awards and you guys were mentioned. I'm like, they deserve it because for you to move your 9 to 5, merge it with security awareness and community thing, it's a whole lot of vibe that up to tomorrow I'm still trying my best to do that. But then I must give you credit for that, really.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Yeah. So that means cybersecurity is beyond behind the screen is coming out to ensure that people can relate with even what you are doing behind the screen. They may not necessarily understand the technicalities of what you are doing behind the screen. But by the time you start teaching them about awareness, telling them what to do to ensure a better and safer digital space, they tend to appreciate your value the more. And this is to all our listeners that it is not enough for you to wear your hoodie, just like they will portray cybersecurity professional in movies. It is always not like that, actually. I can't remember the last time I wear a hoodie. But then, it is not just about sitting behind the screen. Let your curiosity spark into impact. Leverage on existing platform. That's the same thing that Simbiat just told us. From Twitter, now called X, she started putting in 1, 2, or 3. And I remember you started a blog. I know it's still up to today at some point. So yeah, this is a very great work. And that is why today's episode is talking about from curiosity to impact. Using cybersecurity as a tool for social change. We can change the world with cybersecurity. That's the main lesson for this episode. All right, so let's move to the next question. Looking back on your career, what experience taught you the most important lesson about people? This is about people, not technology. And how did it shape the way you lead and work today?
I mean, that's like a loaded question. I'll try to sort of like summarize it as much as I can. I think first is one of my biggest lessons is that having to acknowledge and learn that cybersecurity is fundamentally a collaborative profession, right? Like, while I mean, you can easily think about the technical piece, the reality is no one person, no one team can actually secure a business or an organization alone.
Yes.
Now, the success of this profession depends on you working closely with people across different teams,
Yes.
legal, IT, HR, and they all have like their own like expertise and responsibilities. Now, this experience taught me that while you can have like technical skills, you need to build strong relationships.
Yes.
You need to earn trust. You need to learn communication, right? You need to ask yourself, like, you need to invest heavily in people you work with. And I think it's very interesting because I'm very introverted, even I don't know if it looks like I am. But one of the things I struggled with, right, starting this career is just realizing that you have to talk to so many people, interact with so many people to be able to get your work done.
Yes.
So what that means is even if you have like the knowledge, you have all of the tools, you need to work with other people. I think this is something like we don't really talk about like a lot.
Yes.
And that's also why like people of like certain personalities sort of like struggle. It's very important to, put this into like perspective. And this is why I also believe that, protecting all of these systems, technology also is important, but also we need to protect the people who are
Yes.
also like protecting the system. And
Yes.
I think that's like something that's not really like spoken about a lot. I
Yes.
remember someone reached out to me on X couple of like 2 3 years back, and he had said he has been learning cybersecurity on his own, but he thinks he's missing something,
Yes.
and he thinks what he's missing is a community. And I said that is so valid because if you are introverted and you are now busy, like you now base your learning on just being like sitting on your system, learning on your own, it just means that you're going to go for interview and you won't pass the cultural fit. You're going to get into an organization and you won't be able to get your work done, not because you don't know how to do it, but because you are not able to work with the people you need to work with to get it done, right? And I think that's been like one of the biggest experience for me, and just figuring out how do you work with people, how do you sort of like interact with different personality. And really, I'm not perfect 100%, but just learning how to navigate those dynamics is very important.
Yes. I agree 100% with you on that. Starting up my career as well, it started as, oh, you can do it once you know the technicals. You know, for some of us, let me say yes. Let me say for some of us that have almost a decade or over a decade of experience in cybersecurity today, we actually struggle from the grass up. And it's not like today that the whole community team is now there. And we started all this thing because we don't want people to experience what we experienced. And then one thing also
Absolutely.
taught me about my kind of niche. I'm buttressing on one aspect of your response that said one particular team cannot solve cybersecurity thing, all. You need to move and work with people. And that is why people are very, very important. There is no way you can set a timeline and you will meet the timeline if people are not in agreement with you. If they are not moving at the same pace, in the same direction with you. And by the time I entered, I moved organizations and I'm currently working for a multinational. That taught me a whole lot of lesson. I learned it in a very big way. Not entirely hard, but I keep learning from people. You see people that will be like, oh, this security of a thing, just leave me. I'm into this, I'm into that. There's a time you have to work with legal. There's a time you have to work with the fraud people.
Yeah.
There's a time you have to work even with the customer experience. This have taught me a lot, that you can't you can't be an island, and say you are doing things. So this is one thing I want every cybersecurity professional, either the middle experienced, enthusiast, entry level, even veterans, to know that you can't do it alone and you need people. That's why we are here to talk about the people part of cybersecurity. Thank you so much for that profound response. Let's move to the third question. This one is an acknowledgement of your work, the work done in the industry, and I must just say, well done so far. You have invested heavily in cybersecurity awareness, mentoring, and community building. Why do you believe protecting people is just as important as protecting systems? After all, it is not people that are storing our data. It is not people that are storing our personal information, identifiable thing. It is not. It is the system. But why do you believe that protecting people is just as important as protecting the system? And is there any misconception that people still have today about cybersecurity related to that they believe that it's just about system and not about people?
My first easy answer to that question is people are the center of every security decisions. Even the tools, the technology, the process, the policies, it's being made by people. So what it means is if people don't have the right information, right, they don't have the right knowledge, the right learnings, they could make terrible decisions around what technology to buy, terrible decisions around what kind of policies to put in place. And yes, the tech is what, provide all of the safeguards, tools. But when people understand why security matters, when they understand, what needs to be done, they are better equipped to sort of like make better decisions around protecting systems every day. And this is why like investing in people is such a very huge part of what I think is very, very important. Like we need to empower people, like we need to fill knowledge gap, we need to create like, stronger security culture.
Yes.
And that's simply because like when we talk about culture, right, is what like businesses or like organizations built on. And if you don't have this, it means your technology, your process, whatever you have, is really as good as nothing,
As
right?
a waste.
So that's really, yeah, that's like my perspective around people, and also the fact that technology keeps evolving every single time. Like we've seen how much AI, just took over like a lot of things in the past few months, and same thing is going to happen, right? Over the next years, over the next decades, and this is where people really comes in. Who are going to be making these decisions? It's people who are writing the policies or creating the LLMs that this AI are being like are
Yes.
being used on. It's people. So at the end of technology, the the fundamentals, the basics, it's really around people, and that's really my short and long answer to that. And I think one of the biggest misconception, which I would have thought that by now, people have like, more visibility into it, is people only just thinking about the technical skills or,
Yes.
technicality of cybersecurity.
Mm.
And just like we are talking about working with like legal customer support,
Yes.
cybersecurity is so broad that it involves communication, governance, psychology, risk, policies. Like it's so broad, and I think it's really like a multidisciplinary field,
Yes.
and requires like people with different strengths, different perspective to solve the complex nature of what we have to face every single day. And I also feel this is one of the things I really love most about the field. It's because there's really place for like everyone to contribute. Like you see
Yes.
lawyers, you have certain security issues, you need to talk to legal team, talking about like talk to like customer support, probably to
Yes.
understand
Yes.
certain issues, maybe certain threats, and all of this like holistically. So I think it's still like a misconception. Your soft skills are still like very needed as much as your technical skills. You know how to write, so awesome. You know how to sort of like communicate technical skills or technical like terms in a very simple and understandable way. Awesome. Like there's so much opportunity for like a lot of people and so many people in the field.
All right. I can really relate with everything you said. And the one that touched me the most in your response is the part of customer support. I've noticed something, maybe as a cyber threat intelligence analyst, I've noticed something about customer support teams. Some of this attack come through them, breaches come through them. You hear something about the help desk was breached by one employee that is in customer support and does not have a whole lot of experience. I'm looking forward to hosting customer support team that have experienced some of these things to come on board and tell us what it looks like and the aftermath. Just share the story. I'm looking forward to one of those because people believe that, oh, I'm a cybersecurity professional. I don't have anything to do with marketing. Oh, in the last 3 to 4 years of my life, I've been cut across many teams: marketing, customer support, legal, strategy. Sometimes I will ask my boss and say, why is it that everything is coming to our table? Must we do everything? But the truth is that we must do everything. Because as a threat intelligence team, they believe that you have the intelligence, you understand everything of everything. Even when I don't understand, they just have to bring it to my table and then I will look like, okay, what is this? They say, oh, it's impacting the finance team. What do you have to say to it? How can we? I'm like, okay, we are getting there. That's just to tell you that you can work as an highland in this kind of field. Thank you so much for that wonderful response. I really love that. So let's move to the next one. The fourth question is, through your mentoring and volunteer work, you've done it even from university days. You've done quite a lot of volunteering jobs. So I'm using this opportunity to give you your flowers, right? Well done. What qualities do you see in people who truly thrive in cybersecurity? I brought a couple of guests on this podcast, although it just started. But I've been listening to some of them talk about different qualities that make some people thrive in cybersecurity than the other. And there are some similarities in there as well. So I just want to hear it from your angle as well, from your side, to say what qualities do you see in people who truly thrive in cybersecurity? And what advice would you give to young professionals, especially women in tech, women in security, who are trying to find their place in the industry?
Okay, so I'll say the first thing that comes to mind is willingness to learn. And that's because there is so much learning in cybersecurity. Like a lot evolve in such a very short time. So it's your curiosity, it's your commitment, to continuous learning that helps you, thrive in this field. And also people are like very receptive to feedback. I
Yes.
think a lot of us, I say us because it takes a lot of learning to sort of like see feedback as, something to pick and, learn from, and not necessarily, a negative thing.
Mm.
So the ability to listen, improve, and also, adapt to what's being said helps, people in this field like grow. Um, that quality I also see is people are like very active in the community, whether it's attending events, whether it's participating in maybe capture the flag or whatever competition it
A
is.
curtain.
It just really helps them, learn, yeah, collaborate and grow. And finally, I'll say communication. I think people I've seen really thrive to have very good communication skills, and that's because, like we've been saying, you're going to work with different people, right? You need to explain, this technical concept to marketing team, to legal team, to your, HR team. And just being able to, do all of this is as valuable as your technical expertise. Now, for young professionals, especially women who are trying to find their place or their footing, I think my first advice really is to invest in yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to build your skills, you need to learn. Yes, we are, encouraging like diverse team, diverse hiring, but we
Yes.
also acknowledge that you need to have like the right skills, right, to fill in this space. So
Yes.
build relationships. Where that, don't wait until you have or you feel like you're completely ready to apply for any opportunity. I think this is very
Mm.
women focused. I've spoken to like, the guys and I'm like, God, difference between these genders are like completely different. How they see like opportunities, what they look out for to
Audacity.
take before they apply. Like we're looking to take like 9 or 10 out of 10. Our counterparts are looking to take just 3 or 5 and then they're okay to like,
Yes.
apply. So I think it's also very important to, put that into perspective. Obviously, like ask questions. And just remember that everyone started somewhere. Like everyone had like made mistakes. Everyone like is still learning. And
Yes.
most importantly, especially for the women, is don't underestimate your perspective. Like
Mm.
diverse teams are what sort of like make solutions better, makes ideas better, and your voice matters. Everyone's voice matters, even as an entry level as well. When you sit in rooms, just know that as much as you feel like everybody in the room are like highly experienced,
Mm.
you have like perspectives that those people do not have.
Yes.
Feel free to share and also just feel free to like share your experience as much as you can. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I remember in no, not this year, last year, I told my dad one of those days that, oh, I'm sorry I missed your call because I went to write an exam. He said, you an exam? Why are you always writing exam? What again? What again are you looking for? I'm like, this Baba does not understand that the word I'm thriving at is a word that makes you to run on your toes. You have to keep learning.
Yeah.
Some month ago, I was talking to some of my colleagues. You know, as AI is even the buzzword nowadays, is around putting in infusing AI for automation, just to make sure that you are not doing something over and over all by yourself. And before you were able to do that, you have to learn how does this thing work and all of that. To also buttress the point on feedback, let me tell you a quick story of my first feedback experience that was a very bitter one. And since that day, I've made up my mind that I'm not going to do any of that again. Never. So I had a talent review with my manager back in the days when I first joined. And he said, Jummy, you need to learn business English. Huh? What are you saying? Do
You're like,
you
what do
think,
you mean?
what am I saying? What I'm saying, is it gibberish? Is it my language or what are you referring to here? It's like, I'm not saying English. I'm talking about business English, communicating in a
Business
business
terms.
language.
Yeah.
I found it insulting. believe me sincerely. And at the end of that call, I was just like, you know what? I don't care whatever you do. I'll just continue doing my thing. But later, I asked myself, okay, what is even this business language? Then I started researching it. And it was later, after the research, that I get to know that there is a business English and there is English. There is a way you communicate when it comes to business, and there's a way you communicate to just, your
Yeah.
people and then the technical people and all that. But because I always interface with the senior guys, it's like the way you presented this
Yeah.
thing is not showing the value, like per se. But I'm like, but that is what it is. It's a vulnerability. It's this, it's that. They should just go and do what.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you want me to say? I know.
So that was a very bitter feedback that I have to chew. But I'm glad that I later accepted it, and I went for business writing course. At the end of it, it was so obvious that my manager could not say anything again. It was just, okay,
Yeah.
you've improved over the years. I'm like, hey, that's the kind of review I'm expecting. Don't be telling me that I don't know how to speak English. But then on that feedback thing, we should be open to feedback. Really, that's a very good advice. Thank you so much for that. Then the last 5 high impact question is, does cyber voice exist to amplify the human pillar of cybersecurity? Like I mentioned in the introduction, when people look back on your work years from now, what impact do you hope that people remember you for?
Really, I hope they really remember me as someone who consistently gave back to the community. And for me, it's if I've inspired even just one person to either pursue career in cybersecurity, or maybe I played like, a part in, making the industry more welcoming, then I think that's like a meaningful legacy. And that's really like the kind of contributions that really like, it really goes far beyond just a single achievement. I mean, yeah, that's really like the legacy I hope to leave behind for the community. And I hope people, look at the work that I do
Yeah.
and think about, oh, how can I, support the community more? Because yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say it's 100% easy. It comes like its challenges, but I think it's just, it just feels good being able to like afford people the opportunity I just didn't have, like we just didn't have, and just seeing like how much it makes a difference in people's life is really what I hope stays with, other
Okay.
people as well.
All right. Thank you so much. So I hope that as many people listening, you remember Simbiat community work, because she has been doing so much and she's still in the business of ensuring that you feel welcome into the cybersecurity world, and you understand, you have the direction of where you are also going. Thank you so much for that wonderful responses. In all, this session has been a very good one. I mean, you explored the side, a different side of cybersecurity as a platform for social impact. Thank you so much for that. So we're wrapping up now, and I've got just 2 more questions for you. The first one of my signature questions that I do ask my guests is, what does success mean to you today that it did not mean anything 10 years ago?
It's funny how I think 10 years ago was like so long, like such a long time ago, and I'm like, oh, 10 years ago was not so long ago, really? Um, but yeah, I'll say 10 years ago, success for me really meant, it used to mean any certification, growing like my technical expertise, and just reaching like a certain, you know, milestone or professional growth. At that stage, it was really about personal growth and individual accomplishment. But I think today, my definition of success sort of like has evolved.
Yeah.
And yes, I still value those achievements. Like I think they are really, really important. I just don't measure success just on the basis of those job titles, those certifications. I now measure it on how I'm able to find like a middle ground between the different aspects of my life, my career, my relationships, my family, just like
Yes.
my personal well-being in general.
Yes. Yes.
So success for me right now really means being present, like just being present for the people or to the people I care about, and also just creating impact beyond my own career. Like every time I see maybe people share their career updates, or I finished internship at CyBlack, I've gotten a job, that's success for me, right?
Yes.
It's seeing someone I've mentored, seeing someone I've sort of like shared one, two things with, seeing someone from the community come back to say, I have found my footing in the industry. So for me right now, success is really about, building that life where I help others grow alongside with, helping or supporting what's like really important to me.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's it basically.
Thank you. I mean, starting cybersecurity over a decade ago, I used to be so obsessed about certifications as well. But then I could not even afford it.
They're really expensive.
I'm like, oh. And because I finally shifted my focus from the certifications, I was just grooming myself, improving and all. Recently, I had one of the most dreamed certification that I always have dream of getting, and I just got it. And one of my mentees asked me, "Hey, show me the way. How did you do it? That was so expensive." I'm like, "Well, not on my pay, but on
It took 10
someone,
years.
on
It took 10
someone,
years to get here.
on someone else's pay. It's not from my purse. It is from this, from what I did here and all that." And yes, with all of this is a very good one. We should not measure success based on all this. Some people measure it based on awards, even the award is a recognition of what you're doing, which is very good. But until you get that recognition, strive for the best. Strive to be the best version of yourself. And I always tell my colleagues at work, I have a life after aside cybersecurity. I'm not doing cybersecurity all my life because I have a life outside of that. And that is one thing that we need to really understand. Thank you so much. I love that response where you said, being there for people that you love. Oh, that caught my attention, and I really love that. So going to the last but not the least question. Your voice have been heard on this podcast. I'm sure one time or the other, I will still come back for you to come talk about your journey into certifications and impact. From certifications to impact and to award. Something like that. Just coming to share a story. Maybe not entirely on a question-based interview like this, but I'm looking forward to another chat with you. But before then, nominate a voice that you believe his or her voice should be heard, is worthy to be heard on this podcast.
I mean, two people come to mind for me. One person is Grace Corriday. It's so funny because someone recently met, I think sometime last year. I think she has so much to share. I think she also has like a very inspiring journey. I love her energy towards the work that she does in cybersecurity. I'm sure she'll be happy to share, one or two things. And I'm sure like a lot of people are going to learn
Okay.
from, her journey, her experience as well.
Okay.
I'll share like her LinkedIn with you. I can take it from there. Another person is Hamza Latif. I'm sure I didn't know if I'm talking about that's Password. And I think Password has a lot to share. You probably have to cap him and say, you know what, you cannot answer this question with more than 10 sentences. If not, he's going to go over. But I think he's had like a lot of experiences. I also think like, the audience can also learn from. I've seen, him grow. And also like, he's going to have like a lot to share,
Yes.
basically. And yeah, so my two voices.
All right. Thank you so much for nominating those voices. Okay, to Hamza Latif and to Grace Korede, expect me in your DM. I don't know where I'm going to find you, but I'm going to find you, especially for Grace Korede. I'm going to find you. And for Hamza Latif is already on the list of our guests. So
Awesome.
this is a confirmation to say that Hamza is a big force to be reckoned with. And we are so happy and glad to have him in our community. Thank you so much, Simbiat, for sharing your voice with me today. I am honored and I'm so delighted to have you join me on this show. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jimmy, for having me. And I think this is really like a great thing you're doing as well. Just being able to have people share their experiences and, just have other people listen as well. I feel like sometimes we don't really know how much impact this sort of like creates for other people. For you, it's just, oh, I'm trying to like, create a podcast, have people come and share like their experiences. We just never sort of like quantify how much this means to like people, even though these people might probably never come back to share and let you know that, oh, I listened to your podcast, it changed, certain perspective. Because I've had like people come back to me like years and be like, oh, I saw a tweet of yours years ago that sort of changed. And I'm like, sorry, what tweet? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And imagine that's like probably like one out of like 8,000 people they're going to like listen to this podcast. So I mean, thank you for taking time and starting this. Looking forward to coming on board again sometime in the future.
Yes, again sometime in the future. Thank you so much. Thank you for those kind words. Thank you. All right, to all the watchers and listeners of this episode, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Cyber Voice podcast. If this conversation has inspired you, do well to share, drop a comment, and also share with other people in your community that will be interested and be able to derive value from this conversation. Till we come again in the next episode, please stay cyber smart, stay cyber secure, and ensure that you keep your brace up where everyone out there is watching you. You may not know, but somewhere, somehow, your voice too will be heard. Thank you so much for joining us on this call. Till I come your way again, I remain your host, Jummy. See you in the next episode.